Вас вітає Українсько-Люксембурзький бізнес-клуб. Наша громадська організація базується на волонтерах, на їхній діяльності. Серед волонтерів у нас не лише українці, але також громадяни Люксембурга, іноземці, які тут проживають, які цікавляться діяльністю клубу, бізнесом та усім, що пов'язано з Україною. Серед таких волонтерів я хочу представити вам Jade Berndt, яка є ученицею, випускницею європейської школи. Вона останній рік навчається у школі, готується до поступлення. Джейд звернулася до Українсько-Люксембурзького бізнес-клубу буквально кілька місяців тому з тим, щоб допомогти клубу у діяльності з різними проектами. Ми поспілкувалися з Джейд і вирішили, що найцікавішою програмою для неї буде ведення YouTube-каналу. Тому я хочу запропонувати вам познайомитися з нашою телеведучою, яку ви бачитимете далі у наших YouTube-каналах. Також хочу звернути увагу усіх тінейджерів, підлітків, які цікавляться життям в Люксембурзі. Якщо вам цікаво, залишайте коментарі під цим відео. Якщо вам цікаві проекти, стартапи, молодіжні, ми зможемо організувати щось разом, якийсь проект, а також зустрітися з Джейд і поспілкуватися про можливості початку бізнесу, про можливості молодіжних програм у Люксембурзі. Наша розмова сьогодні буде англійською мовою, тому переходимо на англійську. Dear friends, my name is Evgenia. I'm head of Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club. Our association is a non-profit association, so our main asset is our volunteers. Of course, this year we are super busy and we have more than 20 volunteers working in different spheres, in IT, in media, in communication, and in HR. And this year we also started a new project, YouTube channel, to show quickly our news, to show our activity for you to get it more, to be involved in our activity of Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club. Today I would like to introduce our volunteer who is not Ukrainian, but she is from Luxembourg and she is native English speaking and who came to support our club in this dark days for Ukraine. Jade Berndt, she is just 17 and she is on her last year of school. Jade is super active and shows her interest for Ukraine. Today I would like to introduce her and you will see her in our next videos and as our YouTube channel presenter. Hi Jade, thank you very much for coming today in and of course for all your help, all your support to Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club. First of all, I must say that I was surprised when you showed the interest in Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club. You are just 17. How come, why you are interested at this age in business and in Ukraine? Maybe you can tell us more about this.
I had previously been a UNICEF youth ambassador, so with the ongoing war, I tried to look for ways to support Ukraine. And with UNICEF, we were able to make fundraisers and try to support Ukraine. But then I sought for ways to actively support Ukraine, and I thought that that would be the best opportunity. And I'm very interested in businesses. I'm also in the youth parliament, in the economics department, in the economics committee. So because of this, I tried to look for a way to be involved and to support Ukraine, and to be able to support Ukrainian businesses in Luxembourg particular.
Wow, so you were already in UNICEF at 17. I know that you are really active and can you tell us more? Because as far as I know, you are also involved in the youth parliament in Luxembourg.
So I'm also a member of the youth parliament in Luxembourg. I'm in the economics department of the youth parliament and I'm still there as well right now. I think it's very important that the young people have a voice in today's society and to be able to also give other people a voice who are unable to express what they want and to express their opinions and express what they want to achieve in Luxembourg. And I think it's very important for the young people to be able to be part of the society and be part of the decision-making parts of society.
Well, this is outstanding, but for Ukrainian teenagers, it's really interesting. Maybe you can tell us more. How does the youth parliament work in Luxembourg? How you can be selected, elected, and whether there are different committees. And for adults, it sounds very interesting that you're working in the economic committee. What do you know about economics, and how can you support law drafting?
So the youth parliament, there's different committees, and in the beginning, so you have to sign up. It's very good because Luxembourg is a small country, so in the beginning, all you have to do is you can sign up, and then you have to say which committee you're interested in. In the beginning, you have a day where they then represent the different committees, and then you can see which one you're the most interested in and which one you think you need to support the most. And so for me, economics has always been very important for me because. And in school, I also am in the economics. I do economics as one of my majors in school, and I find it extremely interesting, especially because I feel like society is very dependent on economics, and it's very important as well to be able to understand it and to be able to have a voice in specifically that sector.
And as you are last year in school, I presume you would like to continue with economics.
Yeah, I do want to study economics.
And what are your plans for the next year? You're applying to the universities for the...
Yeah, I'm planning on going to the UK because for me, English has always been one of my first languages. I also speak German at home, but mainly English. And so because of that, I'd really like to go to the UK because that way I feel like I could definitely... Because I'd love to be in an English-speaking country because obviously Luxembourg is very diverse and has a lot of different languages, which is very interesting. But for me personally, I would definitely want to continue studying in English as I have done so previously as well. And yes, I want to be doing economics.
Yeah, we live in Luxembourg where everyone speaks at least 5 languages, but you're a native English speaker. How come did you learn your English in Luxembourg, or did you live somewhere else before?
Yeah, I previously lived in the US as well, and so I lived there for 5 years in Washington, D.C., and that's how I kind of grew up. And I always grew up speaking English with my dad as well, and then always German with my mom, and then with my brother as well, because I have a younger brother, and then I always spoke to him in English too, so that's how.
And when did you move to Luxembourg?
I moved to Luxembourg like 12 years ago, around 12 years ago, yeah, to Luxembourg.
So you lived in America, you lived in Luxembourg. How do you feel? Are you Luxembourgish? How do you feel yourself?
Yeah, I feel like I would definitely classify myself as Luxembourgish because I've just always, for the main part of my life, I've just grown up in Luxembourg, and I really do enjoy the fact that you get to know so many different cultures and you get to know so many different people from all across the world that all come to Luxembourg, and to be able to, and also with all the different languages, it's extremely interesting how diverse Luxembourg is, and it's really good, I think, as well, to be surrounded by such a diverse environment.
And as we all are adults, and for us it's interesting, how is it life of teenager in Luxembourg? Is it interesting? Are you busy? Are you studying all the day? Are you doing sports? How about the life of your friends? Maybe you could tell us.
Well, I also did a speech at the UN last year. I held a speech about that where I highlighted the different difficulties that we go through as teenagers in Luxembourg, and also the similarities and differences between teenagers in Luxembourg and also across the world. So I feel like, of course, teenagers, depending on which country you were born or depending on which country you grew up in, you face different challenges, but some of those challenges are of course similar depending on where you are, just because as a teenager you might have similar problems to other teenagers. I feel like in Luxembourg I think it's different for every school depending on the workload that you get, for example. I feel like, yeah, it depends on which school you're at and in which, I feel like there's different communities of young people in Luxembourg as well.
What kind of communities?
For example, the people that go to Luxembourg schools, I feel like they're a more close-knit community. And then there's the internationals as well. And I feel like usually they're more separate communities as well, I would say.
And what are the advantages of being a teenager in Luxembourg?
Of being a teenager? I feel like definitely we get a lot of good insights from different people, and also we get to be parts of really great experiences from such a young age on. For example, the Youth Parliament or UNICEF, or I was also a writer at RTL today, and I feel like just because of this, it's a lot easier to be able to even get access to these different organizations and to really be active as a teenager in Luxembourg, and I think that's really important and really great about Luxembourg. And also I think it's amazing how safe as well the country is, of course, because a lot of different countries you have a lot of different problems, but in Luxembourg you really are privileged as a teenager growing up, I would say.
And I would like to tell to our friends about the first day I met you. So when you volunteered to support Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club, and I told you about all the committees we have, like HR committee helping refugees, and I was sure you would like to join this committee these days, about art, sport, social. But you showed your interest in technology and startups. I was really impressed. Can you please tell us why? Why it's technology? Why startups? Why this interest?
I feel like specifically at this time it's very important to support the startups, because also, as Arnaud also mentioned, of course there's a lot of young, and not even young, but just a lot of talented people that are coming from Ukraine to Luxembourg, and it's so important for them to be able to get that opportunity to continue working and to maybe focus on something else other than, of course, what's going on in Ukraine right now. And so I think it's very important to support those startups, and just in general to be able to help in any way I can to support the startups, or also to bring together startups from Ukraine and Luxembourg.
As Luxembourg is the country of innovation and supports startups in Luxembourg, and as we as Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club know how supports other countries, especially Ukraine, in technology, can you tell us about startups in schools? Do you have any programs in schools for teenagers, like starting a project, some seeds, and what do you do? How the country is supporting youth in startups?
I know that the Luxembourg school, they have this this organization. It's called Young Entrepreneur. So that's for the young, so young people can then create their own companies, and it's also supported by Luxembourg, but it's mainly at Luxembourg schools. And my school, so for example, at the international schools, there's not that many that I know of, but yeah, in the Luxembourg schools, they have those type of organizations where they can then support the young startups, or they can bring across their own ideas. Like I know as well in my school, for example, in the economics classes, some people also did that, and they were also part of an organization where they could then present their own idea of a startup, and they also had to. They didn't only have to present it, but they also had to do it. So they had to develop the idea, for example, and then depending on how that worked out, they then got different prizes or could continue with it, or were supported by Luxembourg.
In Ukraine-Luxembourg Business Club, we are also starting educational project for entrepreneurship, as many refugees now want to start their business. But we would be happy to start some kind of educational project also for teenagers. And we would be very happy and glad if you could assist us in this and provide us with maybe some common and joint project together. And as you are now our presenter of YouTube channel, maybe you could tell us why it is YouTube channel, whether you had any experience of presenting before, or why is your interest in this?
So I was previously at RTA Today, and that's where I had different interviews with different people. So for example, I had an interview with the Prince of Luxembourg. I also interviewed at the time, the one that was supposed to become the EU Commission President. And then I also had interviews with just a lot of different people from, so Caritas as well, for example, a refugee organization in Luxembourg. And so I had a lot of experience with taking interviews from people, and I think it's very important to also bring across the story from other people and kind of raise awareness about what's going on, and to inform the people on what different people do in Luxembourg specifically, and also just bring across the message of ULBC.
Jade, we are really happy to have you on board, and you inspire not only us, but I hope the Ukrainian teenagers in Luxembourg, because at your age, at 17, being so active, participating in so many associations, and you've achieved already so much. So I think you can inspire our Ukrainian teenagers as well. So we will be happy to make a meeting, a project together, so you can share your ideas, your experience of being active teenager in Luxembourg. Thank you very much, Jane, for being with us on board. We are looking forward for our next interviews, for our next interesting stories. Thank you for all your involvement, for your inspiration, for all Ukrainian teenagers. If you're interested in meeting Jade, please comment under this video. We can make a meeting together, we can make a project together, and please follow us on YouTube, and see you in the next videos.